and welcome to my March 2023 report on the electrical systems at our property in Huntingdonshire, England. Here's an outline view of the major components of the system, and you can find further details in the description below the video. This first graph shows the daily electrical energy coming into the property from our two solar arrays and from the grid. These figures come from the daily readings of the electricity meter and the two solar generation meters. The total solar production this month was 449 units, an average of 14.5 units per day. The highest production was 28.9 units on the 24th and the lowest was 1.5 on the 9th. Our first grid-free day of the year came on the 12th. Being grid-free at this time of year requires three things to happen simultaneously. Firstly, the storage heaters in the annex must be switched off, so it'll be on a weekend when the tenant is away. Secondly, plenty of sun is forecast for the following day, so the Powerwall can be allowed to run down to a low state of charge overnight, in the knowledge that solar will refill the battery the next day, as well as providing all the house's needs. And thirdly, the car doesn't need charging. 798 grid units were imported in total, with 7 at normal rate and the rest at economy 7 low rate. A reduction in grid import can be seen from the 20th onwards, after the tenant in the annex switched off one of the two storage heaters. The good news is that, coming off our 2-year fixed rate tariff, the low rate units went down from just under 10p to 7p per unit for the month. The bad news is that the normal rate units went up from around 20p to 54 pence per unit, so those 7 normal rate grid units cost the same as 54 low rate units would have cost. 15.8 units were exported to the grid, according to the Tesla app, which was 1.3% of the total electrical energy coming in and 3.5% of the solar energy produced. The solar contribution to the month's electricity input was 36%. This second graph shows where the electrical energy consumed by the property and the car came from. The figures behind this graph are mostly supplied by the Tesla app, with the car's home charging figures coming from the My Energy app. 19.6% of the energy came directly from solar, and a further 13.9% was solar coming to the property via the Powerwall, giving a total solar contribution to the energy used of 33.5%. The Zappi charger put 89.4 solar units into the car, which started the month almost empty, and 89.3 low-rate grid units. The 152 miles driven in a low mileage month cost 4.11 pence per mile. This graph shows the energy going into and coming out of the Powerwall each day, as reported by the Tesla app. 88.6% of the energy which went into the battery came back out. And this is the self-power graph, based on figures from the Tesla app, which reported that the proportion of self-power was 41.1%, but there is still a fair amount of grid energy going through the Powerwall. This graph shows the solar southwest production over the years since installation. 157 units was the second worst March over the 12 years, well below the month's arithmetic mean of 276.9 and the median of 286.5. And here is the cumulative year-to-date graph for the southwest array. 2023 has tumbled from 3rd place to 8th place out of the 12 years after this dreary March. This graph shows the daily output of the two solar arrays for the past 365 days. After a rise through February, the moving average lines have stalled and finished well below where they were last year. On March the 9th, snow was lying on the old southwest array on the shallow house roof, though it didn't take long to slide off the southeast array on the steep garage roof. This is the distribution of the energy input and export, like the first graph, but for the past year rather than just a month. And this graph shows the daily solar production for that period. This final graph shows a summary of our grid electricity usage over the years since our move here in the summer of 2011. The grey and red lines show the number of low rate and normal rate grid units used each month, as measured on the left-hand scale. The colder winter, leading to greater use of storage heaters in the annex, has led to a higher spike in the usage of grid units. The monthly electricity bill is shown by the yellow line and the right-hand scale, and the green line shows the monthly contribution to the feed-in tariff payments for the old South West Arrays production. That's all for now. I'll leave you with the Tesla app graphs for each day of March and hope to see you again next month.